His version of trying is leaving you completely alone in the fire, just asking him to see the new weight that you're carrying and to help with some of that too. But he doesn't see it. And he says, just tell me what you need me to do, which sounds reasonable. But what it really means is, I'm not going to take any initiative. You're going to have to spell it out for me. He gets to try on his own timeline, in his own way, at his own pace. And meanwhile, you don't get that luxury. You're burning alive in emotional labor because here's the truth. You don't want surface effort. You want attunement. Well, hey, friend, he says he's trying. And he really does. He tells the kids to respect their mom. He handles the family finances without you having to ask. He fixes things around the house before they become emergencies, and he keeps doing what he's always done, consistently, reliably. But it doesn't land. It's not even close because you're drowning in decisions and worry and emotional weight, and he's offering you things like home repairs. Let the leaky faucet drip. Just come to the meeting with the school counselor. Put the checkbook down and help me carry this. Stop solving the problem in the garage and sit with me in the problem that we're having with our kid. Because here's what he doesn't understand. His version of trying is leaving you completely alone in the fire. And you're so tired of pretending that checking boxes equals partnership. This is episode 5 in the series Marriage Conversations Midlife Besties Are Having But Are Afraid to Say Out Loud. I'm Jennifer Roskamp. Let's dive in and get started. Well, welcome back, friend. Over the past 4 episodes, we've been naming the hard truths about midlife marriage. We've talked about wondering if you still love him, about why everything feels wrong even though he hasn't changed, about feeling emotionally invisible in your own life, and about being crushed by the invisible load that no one else sees. And so in this episode, we're addressing really the disconnect that might be the most painful of all. It's the one that addresses the fact that he says he's trying, but it's not what you need. And the gap between his effort and your reality is leaving you feeling more alone than ever. And so today we're going to be unpacking what he thinks effort is and what's still missing the mark. We're going to talk about what you actually need to feel supported in this midlife season. And we're going to talk about why trying feels more like abandonment when it's misdirected. And so by the end of our time here together, you'll have language for what real support looks like and permission to stop accepting effort that doesn't actually help. And so let's start with what he is doing. Because here's the thing. He is trying. He's showing up in the ways that he knows how. He handles the bills without you having to ask about them. He keeps the cars maintained so that you don't have to worry about breakdowns. He fixes things around the house, the leaky faucet, the broken door, the Wi-Fi router that keeps acting up. He tells the kids to be nice when he hears that they're being disrespectful. He backs you up when you set a boundary with them most of the time. He shows up for family events and school functions, the things on the calendar. And from where he's standing, he's being a good husband, a good father, a good partner. He's consistent and reliable and steady, at least most of the time. He's doing what he's always done, and it used to be enough, but now it's not enough, not even close. And here's what's making you feel crazy. You're not asking him to stop doing those things. You're not asking him to become someone else entirely. You're just asking him to see the new weight that you're carrying and to help with some of that too. But he doesn't see it. He thinks what he's always done should still be enough. And so instead of asking what's changed or what you need now, he just keeps doing the same thing he's always done. Things like financial stability and home maintenance and surface level backup with the kids. And meanwhile, you're collapsing under the weight of the emotional chaos your teenager is going through and the fear that keeps you up at night wondering if they're going to be okay. The decisions about your aging parents, whether to intervene, how to help, when to have the hard conversations about their future. The mental load of managing everyone's emotional well-being while your own is crumbling. The constant worry about whether your marriage is going to survive this season or if you're just both going through the motions until the kids are grown. And meanwhile, he's fixing the Wi-Fi again. Now, let me be clear. None of what he's doing is bad. Financial responsibility matters. Home maintenance matters. Showing up for family events matters. Those aren't small things, but they're not the things that are breaking you. And that's the disconnect. His consistency isn't comforting anymore. It's infuriating because life is heavier now. The problems are bigger. The emotional load is crushing. And he's still operating like it's 10 years ago. Like if he just keeps doing what he's always done, everything will be fine. But everything's not fine. You're not fine. And the fact that he can't see that, the fact that he thinks balancing the checkbook equals emotional support is making you want to scream. So Let me give you an example from my own life. There was a season when one of our kids was really struggling, and I was terrified and completely overwhelmed, lying awake at night, running through every worst case scenario. And my husband was making sure that the pool was vacuumed. He'd get done with it and say, "See, doesn't it look nice?" And I wanted to cry because I didn't need the pool vacuumed. The pool that I used to have time to sit in once in a while, but in reality, I hadn't been in 2 years because I couldn't afford the time. What I needed in that moment was for him to say, "I'm worried too. What do you think is the best thing for us to do?" I needed him to be as worried as I was, not distract himself with tasks. But that's not how he's wired. When he feels helpless, he fixes things. When life feels out of control, he focuses on what he can control, the tangible, solvable problems. And from his perspective, that is trying, that is showing up. But from my perspective, it felt like he was checking out, avoiding the real problem by busying himself with things that just don't matter and leaving me to deal with the big things. The things that he knows are there, but it's just easier to do the things that he can check off the list and let me deal with the messy, hard parts of life. And that's what so many midlife marriages look like right now. He's doing what he's always done, but she's carrying the weight of what changed. And the gap between his effort and her reality is leaving her feeling completely alone. And here's what really makes this so painful. It's not just that he's not helping with the right things, it's that he doesn't even know what the right things are. These helpful things that he's been so proud of, they're not lightening your load, not the real one. They're just brushing the crumbs off the mountain. So let me paint you a picture. Your teenager comes home from school, slams the door, and goes straight to their room. You feel it in your bones. You know something is wrong. Your mom radar is screaming. And so you spend the next hour checking on them, trying to draw them out, holding space for whatever is happening while internally spiraling about whether this is normal teenage mood swings or whether it's something more serious. And your husband is in the garage organizing his tools. Later, when you try to talk to him about this, he says, "They're fine. Teenagers are moody. You worry too much." And then he goes back to whatever it was he was doing. Meanwhile, you're still carrying the weight of, but what if they're not fine? Or here's another one. You're trying to make a decision about your aging parent. They're declining. You can see it, but you don't know what to do. Do you intervene and risk their resentment, or do you wait and risk something bad happening? And so you bring it up to your husband multiple times. And he says, "Whatever you think is best. I trust your judgment." And it sounds like supportive. It sounds like that's supportive, but what it really means is, "I don't really know, and I'm just not interested in figuring it out. I'm sure that whatever you can figure out, it'll be just fine. You don't need me for that." And in reality, you will figure it out, just like you've always done, because it has to be figured out. And so you carry it alone again, along with the worry and the guilt and the fear that you're going to make the wrong call. Or what about this example? You're overwhelmed, completely maxed out, and you look like it. Anyone who can even see you a little bit, even knows you a little bit, can see it. But he can't. Or if he does, he knows he's just not opening that can of worms. And so you finally say, "I need help." And he says, "Just tell me what you need me to do," which sounds reasonable. But what it really means is, "I'm not going to take any initiative. You're going to have to spell it out for me." And so now you're just not doing the thing, but you're also managing his part of the thing. You're planning it out, you're mapping it out, you're delegating, you're following up on it, which means it's still on your plate. And your plate has just grown. And that's what he doesn't see. He thinks he's trying, but his version of trying is still leaving all the heavy lifting to you. Because here's the truth. You don't want surface effort, you want attunement. You want him to notice what you're carrying before you have to spell it out. You want him to be as worried about your kid as you are without you having to convince him that it's serious. You want him to take the emotional weight off your plate, not just the tasks off your plate. And you want him to say things like, "I see you're overwhelmed. What would actually help right now?" Not just tell me what to do. But maybe, "I'm paying attention. I don't know what's going on, but I can see that it's something. So what is it?" That's the shift that needs to happen. It's not him doing more tasks. It's him seeing more of what you're actually carrying, because right now he's blind to it. And his well-intentioned efforts are landing like slaps because they're so far from what you actually need. Well, if you are in midlife and if you are married, listen up. You need this resource. I've got a new free guide, and it's called "He Doesn't Get It Yet: How to Help Him See What You're Carrying Without Starting Another Fight." This free guide is going to help you identify what's really weighing on you, the invisible and the visible. It's going to help you understand why he hasn't noticed and why that's not entirely his fault. It's going to help you find language that helps him see what he's been missing. And it's going to help you start a conversation that might actually lead to real change. Because if your marriage feels like it's on life support, I want you to know that most husbands, they actually do want to show up for their wives. They just don't know how. They're still operating from the old playbook, and no one has even told them it's outdated. You can grab this free guide at Midlife Marriage's free guide, or check the show notes on this episode. So let me tell you what the real punch in the gut is for midlife women. He gets to wait until he's ready. He gets to try on his own timeline, in his own way, at his own pace. And meanwhile, you don't get that luxury. You're burning alive in emotional labor, and you can't wait until you feel ready to show up for it. You don't get to say, I'll worry about our kid when I have more capacity. You don't get to say, I'll manage the household when I'm feeling less stressed. You don't get to opt out of the invisible load until you're in a better headspace. You just do it every day, all the time, whether you're ready or not. And meanwhile, he's sitting on the couch watching the game, or scrolling his phone, or working late again because work is really busy right now and you want to scream. You think I'm not busy? You think I wouldn't love to check out for a few hours? But here's the thing. He doesn't see any of that as checking out. He sees it as recharging. He genuinely believes that he needs downtime after a long day, and he likely does. But so do you. The difference is you don't get any, because while he's recharging, you're making dinner and managing homework battles and soothing anxieties in your kid. Planning tomorrow, you're worrying about next week. You're carrying the emotional weight of everyone in the house. And when you finally sit down at 9 p.m., completely depleted, he looks at you and says, you should relax more. You're too stressed. And you just want to throw something, because the reason you're stressed is that you're doing everything, and he doesn't see that. He just sees that you're stressed, and he thinks the solution is for you to calm down, not for him to step up and actually help carry the weight. And here's what he needs to understand. She's functioning on half the sleep, twice the stress, and all the pressure. She doesn't get to wait until she's ready. She doesn't get downtime. She doesn't get to recharge. So why does he? Why does he get to decide when and how he shows up? Why does his effort get to be conditional based on his capacity or his mood or his readiness, while hers is just expected? And that's the double standard that's breaking her. It's not that he's not trying. It's that his version of trying is leaving her alone in the fire. So let's talk about what trying actually does look like, and also what it doesn't, because here's the hard truth. Trying doesn't mean anything if it's not connected to what actually matters. So let me give you some examples of what's not trying, even though it might look like it. Telling her she's making too big of a deal out of something is not effort. It's dismissal. When she's worried about your kid and you say, you're overreacting, they're fine, that's not support. That's minimizing her concern so that you don't have to engage with it. Problem solving her emotions instead of listening is not effort. It's avoidance. When she's upset and you immediately jump to, well, here's what you should do, that's not helping. That's trying to make your discomfort go away by fixing her. She doesn't need solutions. She needs to be heard. Doing chores while avoiding hard conversations is not effort either. It's control. When she tries to talk about something serious and you say, can we talk about this later? I just need to finish this first. And then later never comes. That's not trying. That's dodging. You're staying busy so that you don't have to engage with what's uncomfortable. Backing her up with the kids in the moment but undermining her later is not effort, it's sabotage. When you tell your kids, listen to your mother, but then later when she's not around, you say, Mom's just stressed, don't worry about it. That's not support, that's teaching them not to take her seriously. Agreeing to help and then not following through, that's not effort, it's abandonment. When you say, yeah, I'll take care of that, and then she has to remind you again and again, until she finally just does it herself because it's easier than managing you, that's not trying, that's creating more work for her. So what does trying actually look like? Real trying looks like noticing. Noticing when she's quiet, when she's withdrawn, when she's snapping at everyone. And instead of pulling back or getting defensive, get curious. What's going on? What's happening? Real trying looks like asking, not waiting for her to spell it out, not making her manage you, but proactively asking what would actually help right now, and then doing it without resistance, without sighs, without making it about you. Real trying looks like prioritizing what matters to her, even if it doesn't matter to you. Maybe you don't think the thing with your kid is a big deal. Maybe you think she's worrying too much, but she is worried, and that should be enough. You don't have to agree with her concern to help her carry it. Real trying looks like giving up your comfort for her care, turning off the game, putting down your phone, skipping the things that you wanted to do because right now she needs you more. And partnership, it means showing up even when it's inconvenient. Real trying looks like saying, I know you're exhausted. What can I take off your plate? I know you're worried. Let's figure this out. I don't fully understand what you're going through, but I want to. Help me understand. That is trying. And for the love of all things holy, if you say you're going to do something, just do it already. Effort in trying, it's not checking boxes. It's not completing tasks, and it's not defending yourself. It's being emotionally available to see what's really breaking her and choosing to help carry it. Here's what you need to hear. She's not asking for magic. She's asking for partnership. She doesn't need you to have all the answers. She doesn't need you to fix everything. She doesn't need you to suddenly become a different person. She just needs you to be present, to see her, to hear her, to carry the weight with her, to stop treating her pain like a problem to be solved and to start treating it like something to be lived in and managed through. To stop offering her tasks when what she needs is connection. To stop defending your effort when what she needs is attunement. Because here's the truth. Trying only counts if it actually carries the weight. And right now, your version of trying isn't helping to carry the weight. And it's not because you're a bad person and it's not because you don't care, but because you're still operating from the old, outdated playbook. You still think that partnership means completing tasks when what she actually needs is emotional presence. And so in light of that, here's what real trying looks like. It's choosing her over your comfort. When she needs to talk and you want to relax, you talk. When she's drowning and you're tired, you step in anyway. When she's falling apart and you don't know what to do, you just sit with her in it. It's noticing what she's carrying and asking how to help, not waiting for the breakdown, not making her spell it out, but paying attention, leaning in. It's also being willing to be wrong, to hear her say, that's not what I need. And instead of getting defensive and saying, okay, you need to stop, not get defensive and say, okay, help me understand what it is you do need. It's showing up even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't know what to say, even when you're tired. I promise she's just as tired, maybe more. Even when you can't fix it, even when all you can do is be there, because sometimes being there is enough. But you have to actually be there, not physically present, but while being emotionally checked out. It's a matter of you not focusing on doing tasks while avoiding the real conversation. But it's you being fully present and fully engaged and fully with her where she is, even if you don't know exactly where that is. That's what she's asking for. And it's really the only kind of trying that actually counts. Well, if you are in midlife and you are married and you find yourself asking the question, do I even want to be married anymore? Know that I've got an amazing resource for you. I've actually got two of them. I've created the midlife map for women and the midlife map for men. The midlife map for women is going to help you understand what's actually happening with you. We're talking about all of the physical, emotional, and all the changes that we women go through. And then there's the map for him. It's going to help you. It's going to give you the words to share with your husband about what is actually going on with you in a way that he can understand. It's going to help him know why mowing the lawn, it just isn't what you need anymore. What you need, it goes much deeper. Make sure you visit midlifemarriages.com to check out this amazing resource. And if what you're doing isn't working, if she's still drowning while you're trying, then it's time to try something different. It's not about trying harder. It's not about doing more. It's about doing something different, because the things you're doing, the tasks you're completing, they're not helping the load she's carrying. And the effort that you're giving, it's not landing where she needs it. And so the gap between what you think you're doing and what she actually needs is leaving her feeling more alone than ever. And so here's what needs to happen. If you want to know how to fix things with your wife, ask her. Don't assume you know what she needs. Don't wait for her to break down and spell it out. Ask, what are you dealing with right now that I'm not seeing? And then listen. Don't defend, don't explain, don't problem solve, just listen. And then ask, what would actually help you feel better right now? And then do it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's not what you would choose or more. What if you do it even if you don't feel like doing it? And if you don't feel like doing it, do it anyway, because she does that same thing all day long. Do it even if it doesn't make sense to you. Do it anyway, because that's partnership. Partnership isn't about doing what's easy. It's doing what is uncomfortable. It's not waiting until you feel ready either. Partnership is doing what she actually needs when she needs it, which is rarely going to align with your ideal timeline because that's the way life works. And if you're listening right now and know that your husband needs to understand some of this but are not sure where to start, that's exactly what the free guide, He Doesn't Get It Yet, is designed to help you with. It's going to help you understand it's going to help you understand what you're actually carrying, not just what's visible. It's going to help you see why the efforts that he's putting forth aren't landing. And it's going to help you find a language to start a different kind of conversation and to be able to bridge the gap between what your husband thinks he's doing and what you actually need. You can grab it at midlifemarriagesfreeguide.com. And if this episode resonated, know that it's just one of a series of 10 that we're having. If you find that this is exactly what you've been trying to say, listen to it again. Listen to it as many times as you need to listen to it in order to make sure that you are ready to have the conversation and that you understand how to communicate better. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about why am I always the one who has to change? We're going to talk about why growth can feel so one-sided in marriage, especially in midlife marriage, and what to do when you're tired of being the only one doing the work. Until then, friend, give yourself permission to name what you actually need, not what's easy to ask for, and not what you think he can handle, but what you actually need. Until then, make it an intentional day.